All right, oops. All right, so my question here is to round this one to 3 decimal places. This is an exact copy of the question. I've just adjusted a little bit to be 3 instead of 4, but hopefully we get the idea of what's going on here. So when we round, first things first, these are my decimal places. So this would be 1 decimal place, 2 decimal place, 3 decimal place, 4 decimal place. So if I want to round something to 3 decimal places, it means I want to kind of chop it off there. I only want to have 3 numbers after my decimal point. And to do that means that I have to look at this number, my last one or my third one along, and I have to decide, does that stay at the number it is currently, or does it have to go up by 1? And hopefully we've sort of worked out along the way here that if you've got a number between, like if that number is between 1 and 4, then it stays. So it stays, so to remain a 1, 9, sorry, it'd stay at 9. If I've got a number between 5 to 9, so if that number's between somewhere, or greater than 5 basically, if that number's greater than 5, then I have to actually raise it up 1. So if I had a 6, if I had 6, 6, and I need to round that out, then I would scratch that out, and this becomes a 7. And that's because, well, 70 there, that would be rounding that off. Maybe it's easier if we look like this. So if I had 0.21, and I need to round to 1, then I'd look at that 1 and I would go, well, my number stays the same, so now my number is 0.2. If I had 0.25, then that number's a 5, so I'm actually going to have to go up, so I'll now write that as 0.3. That would be rounding to 1 decimal place. If I had 0.29, then it still just rounds up to 3. But what about if I had 0.99 and I want to round it to 1 decimal place? What am I going to do here? Well, I'm going to look at my number here. Oops. Look at my number here. And I'm going to go, well, it needs to go up, because this number is greater than 5. My number here is going to have to go up. So what's the number 1 more than 9? Well, that's 10. But I can't fit a 10 in there because, hold on a minute, if I put a 10 there, then I would have 0.10, which is a long way off 0.9. 0.9 is actually 9 times bigger than 0.10. 0.10, sorry. So that's not what I do. So what I need to do is to realize that this 10 is actually made up of 1 from the units column and 0 in my tenths column. Same as if I had 99 and I wanted to round it to the nearest tens, then I would look here and I'd go, right, well, it's going to go up, so it'll be rounded up to 100. I don't round it up to 10, it has to round up to 100, so I have to go across to that next row there. That becomes a 0. That just becomes a 0 as well. And there we go, I've rounded 99 up to the nearest 100. So it's kind of the same idea here. So back to this problem over here. If I have this one, I look at this one here, I go, I'm looking at my third place, it needs to go up. That means my number above this is 10. But I can't scratch it out like that. What I need to do is I add plus 1 to that column, and I change this one here to 0. So I'm going to get rid of that. That's going to become a 0. And then, hold on a minute, if I add 1 to this column here, then this number is going to become a 10. Which means that I'm going to have a 1 and a 0. I put the 0 down there. And that means I have to add 1 to my next column along. So I add 1 to my next column along, and that one's also going to be 10. So that equals 10. So I cross that out. I can't write my 10 in here because that won't work. So I have to write 1 on the other side of the decimal point and 0 there. So to round it to 3 decimal places, if I round round 0.999 to 3 decimal places, then the answer is actually 1.000. And these just stay zeros because that's actually the closest number. And yeah, it's just deciding which one you're closer to at that third decimal place. So hopefully that helps a little bit there and just shows how it chains along from one to the next.